But folks, our actions, what we do, will often have repercussions that we never even thought of. We can do something and not think of what the consequences are, or maybe we think of some consequences but not think of ones that would be even worse. That's exactly what happened in the life of Jacob. But again, throughout all this, we're going to see God's incredible hand. God is in complete control of every situation. Even when we have an economy that is incredibly horrible. Not quite the worst economy our country's ever had, but pretty close. And even if it isn't the worst, when you're hurting individually, it may as well be the worst. We have, not only financially is our country in a mess, and just about every other way, our country is in a mess as well. It seems like, how in the world is God in control? But yet he is. He said, it just doesn't seem like it. Well, it probably didn't seem like it for Joseph at this point either. Imagine being a 17-year-old kid and your brothers hating you so much that not only do they want to kill you, instead they decide, well, they sell you like a slave. And this is an action that probably the lowest point Joseph gets to. We'll get to that in a few chapters. When he's in prison for something he didn't do, and then some others have dreams, and God gives him the interpretation of those dreams, and they said, "Oh, great, I'll remember you." Well, then 7 years, forget about him again. Yet all these things God is using for His glory and Joseph's good. And that's exactly what He'll do with us. This is an unlikely start to a great hero. It's an unlikely start to someone who's going to end up making it big. What's Joseph's responsibility? To do what he did. In this, he always saw it fit to do what was best in God's eyes. Even when he knew the consequences were going to be bad. We'll see that in the next episode that we come to in Joseph's life in chapter 39, or later in chapter 38, with Potiphar's wife. But he still did right. We'll see that in every stage of his life. When we go through a struggle, which we all do all the time, we know God's in control, so one of my temptation reactions is, Lord, why are you doing this? It's not fair. But that's not the right reaction. The right reaction should be, okay, Lord, what are you trying to teach me? How can I best honor you in this? I had one of those moments yesterday. And it's a really silly one. Again, I had an odd week. A lot of great things this week, a lot of great privileges this week, several long days, a lot of good things that I was able to accomplish, but also had a lot of bizarre things. The computer one, yeah, that was weird, and that took a lot of ridiculous time trying to fix. I have more books. I have a big library, but I probably have more books on my computer than I do in my actual library, and that's a lot. And I use them a lot. I use my study tools a lot. I'm like, Lord, Lord, what are you trying to teach me? Kept on coming back to that. But then yesterday, or more accurately Friday, but I didn't realize till yesterday, I did something really, really silly, and I've done it twice now in the last 3 months. I misplaced my set of keys. You say, what's the big deal? My little green clunker, there was no reason. I was too cheap several years ago when I realized I only had one key that worked anymore. And there's no reason to buy an extra key, for a $90 key for that car that's probably not going to last me through the summer. So I hadn't replaced it. That key was on that ring. Yesterday, Lisa had to go down to LaSalle, Peru, get Alyssa because she wasn't feeling well down at her thing. Well, I had to do gymnastics things with Katie over at Westwood. I know I could have called people. Lord, where are these keys? And I was tempted to say, Lord, this isn't fair. I'm thinking, wait a minute. I'm the dummy that lost the keys to begin with. Yeah, Lord knows where exactly where it is, but Lord, okay, what are you trying to teach me through this? A little bit of humility was one of them, because you know how I got Katie? I borrowed the church bus and drove it over to Westwood and parked it along the side at Westwood, and she and I came back in the church bus. Now, Joey would have loved it. Katie was fine with it. Joey would have loved it. Joey would ride a bus 10 hours a day, every day of the year. He just loves buses, but yeah. So, yeah, it could have been worse, though.